Play all day. Doesn't that sound like fun? So we love the idea of not just seeing your tango practice as a dedicated chunk of time, but something that you actually touch on and do and remind and inform your body of actually throughout the day. So that you are playing with your tango music movements throughout normal activities throughout the day.
Right. Our bodies, our minds too, are incredibly resourceful. And one of the ways that they're resourceful is learning the easiest, simplest, frankly, laziest way to do things.
Most efficient.
Most efficient. Okay. Be nice. Be kind, be nice. So we learn the most efficient way, but sometimes we can improve and grow stronger, faster, have greater balance and abilities if we can challenge ourselves throughout the day. For example, do you find that when you are picking up something, you always favor picking it up on a certain side?
Usually.
Yeah. So let's think about, at any time that we're about to do something, we have a choice available. I can do what I've always done. I can do nothing. Or I can make a different choice. Play with the idea of recognizing those things that we're doing automatically, always in the same way, and do it in a different way. Just to get the idea that life, like the Argentine tango, is an improvisation, and we've got lots of different ways of doing things.
Yes.
Now, one of the ways that I challenge myself for my balance is putting my shoes on and taking them off while I'm standing. And when I reach for my shoe, I'll try to do a single leg deadlift. And even when I'm picking up my shoes, I recognize, oh, I tend to always go for this one. So I purposely go for the other one, and eventually I get to the point where I don't remember which my favorite side is. I just do it differently.
However you feel like in the moment, which
Yeah.
is great for improvisation.
So anytime you get a chance to be on your feet and practice your balance, even if I can use the wall to help in the beginning. And then eventually I can get a little away from the wall, and eventually I'm all freestanding.
Working on your balance is like having a well-developed core. It's going to benefit every single part of your dancing. So yeah, very useful tips. Another way of playing with your movement and increasing your flexibility and mobility is by stopping short of a movement or reaching for something, and actually kind of what you were talking about, finding a different way to reach for it or to grab it. So for instance, if I want to get something out of a cabinet, my top cabinets, instead of just walking straight up to the cabinet, grabbing whatever I want, I can stop short of the cabinet and I can reach for that movement and work on opening up my shoulders, my shoulder blades like so. I can walk up to the cabinet in a profile view, and I can turn and work on my flexibility and my mobility through my core and my back, reaching up for things.
Yeah, I love that. I'm reaching for my breakfast cereal in the morning, and typically I'd reach like that, and it's like, oh, what about it if I get a little dissociation practice?
Exactly. Like you like to remind us, our muscles are wound around us in spirals. So the more rotation that we can do, it helps keep those muscles active and limber.
Mm-hmm.
Another great way, and this is particularly once you get to our pivots video and start learning about pivots, is turning a corner, going into a bedroom or going into your office at work, or anytime you find yourself walking normally and you want to turn into a corner. Instead of just doing like I did, where I can walk just right into the corner, I can use that as an opportunity to practice my pivot. As I am getting ready to turn, collect those feet, pivot on their supporting foot, off you go. You can work on balance through that. You can also work on the pivots. If you really want to challenge yourself, instead of taking the quarter pivot into that movement, you can actually do the 3/4 way around by actually going on the opposite foot of the way that you're turning. Work on your pivot and going into turning your quarter that way.
Throughout the day, to remind ourselves, there are many times when we have things that we do routinely. It may be preparing our pot of coffee. Well, that would be a time when we could be practicing our balance. Brushing the teeth. There again, we can be practicing our balance. We can even do some movement.
You can practice your weight changes, interrupted, there brushing your teeth, your intention. Encouraging yourself to find things that you do every single day that then would trigger an opportunity to practice.
Right. Your set-aside practice, you can even use a trigger for that. You have a certain time of day, and then you want a trigger. So maybe that's where you go and put your tango shoes on, then you know you're ready to do your practice for the tango. One other idea we'd like to give you about challenging ourselves to do more, to get our body out of being, what did you call it, comfortable? Or efficient.
Efficient.
I recall a time I was moving into an apartment and a fellow was helping us. We had this big sofa. I don't know how many times we turned that thing end to end, rotated it, tried to find the right angle to get it into the door. Finally, my friend said, "Isn't there some way we can do this harder?" So that's a question we can actually usefully ask ourselves through the day. It's not to make things difficult for ourselves, but to make them more interesting, more fun, more challenging, give us different choices through the day.
This is a very similar concept used when you're working out. They always ask you, okay, if you have a movement that you're comfortable with, great, now do it on one leg. Do the same movement. You have a movement that you're comfortable with it, great, get on hands and knees. Now all of a sudden, a lot more difficult. So this is a very common idea.
Yeah, a perfect example is sitting. Do we use our hands to help lower us into place, or can we sit without using hands? And then when we get to that point, can we offset our feet so that we're actually using one foot, one leg more, and then we switch off so that we use the less efficient one?
Yes.
Continue that.
Yes. Looking for ways to make things harder actually challenges not only your body, but also your mind.
Yeah. So let's do it. Play all day, and then when you're ready to add something new to your play, we'll join you at the next card.
And we look forward to hearing all the different ways that you figured out how to play throughout the day.